Oh, hi.
So I want to ask you what you know about the government's 3-stage plan for a COVID safe Australia. This is a plan they released with like the beautiful chart. It's just like, this is what we're going to do, and then this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. Are they going to do a bit of that?
What do you know about that?
I know full combat sports are towards the end of it all. Now we're in a space where some of the states are in there. Full combat sports is in there.
So what,
Dining is in there. Clubbing is in there.
How intense would full combat sports? Like, would it be quite a bit rough and tumble? People quite intense?
There would be, at your local MMA and wrestling gyms, significant amount of body-on-body contact. It sounds like about as intimate two people can be. The spit, which of course is how, you know, one of the vectors for coronavirus is all your head fluids.
Bit fluidy?
And they flow and splash.
That's in there, is that? That's in the plan?
And
that's so great. That's so great for MMA and stuff like that. Did you know that explicitly, and I mean to the point where it's in the plan, brothels, everybody's favorite, and strip clubs are explicitly excluded from stage 3.
What?
Did you know that?
Well, I mean, I did, because you told me we were going to talk about this today. But for the sake of this,
what?
I don't believe that. You're making it up. Have you done the research to prove your assertion?
A little bit, but
that's enough for me.
I would love to know, just off the top of your head, why you think that might be the case.
Because even though the man loves to go to sex workers, they hate sex workers.
Yeah.
Because sex workers, despite providing a legitimate and incredibly important service to our community, and kind of, for as long as I know of, have been maligned and marginalized in our society.
Fuck, man, you basically nailed it. That's the crux of the argument here. The other thing that I discovered in researching this, and we'll go back into like basically all the things that you just said, but there's this other insanely hypocritical thing going on. So in Victoria and a bunch of other states, basically sex work and brothels and stuff are legal. Like there's licensing.
It's legislated, yeah.
This is such a legitimate business that they pay a licensing fee. A lot of these premises pay up to about $7,000 a year.
The man's regulating it and taking his taste.
Right. So while everything has been stopped since the lockdown sort of came in force to basically all businesses, and all these, basically most other industries have kind of got now a roadmap in this plan for when they'll be able to come back online, which means that they're able to tell their workers, their employees, like, whatever
they can do what they need to do to function as a business.
To start figuring out if they're going to make it without no money. The adult industry in brothels and strip clubs in particular have been weirdly left completely out, despite the fact that, as you mentioned, contact sports and massage also allowed in stage 3. The people I spoke to in the industry were just like, it's gotta be stigma. It's gotta be a weird stigma where they essentially think that sex work is, I think they think it's dirty or something like that.
Which is
even
absurd.
though of all, like, again, not a single case linked to COVID, and the sex industry has a crazy long history of dealing with just like implementing new safety, like of all the industries in the world. They have a hell of a head
start on the MMA industry in terms of preventing communicable diseases. They know all about it.
Like
it goes so well beyond HIV tests.
Like if you've ever been to a sex worker's, like it's cleaner there than it is in our house. Like it's so clean. It's ridiculous. And I think the idea that, I don't know, like, I don't know what they're imagining, but I think you know what they're imagining in order to not get to the place where like they would just completely leave that entire industry out of the plan.
Unless they, you know, it's like they hate sex workers.
I think we probably know that they hate sex workers. So what's been done so far is that they've written letters,
the sex industry has.
The Eros Association has written letters to Greg Hunt, who's the health minister, and a group of brothels in Sydney, I believe, have written a letter to the same guy, just to be like, this is crazy. Hey. How can you just entirely leave our businesses out of the thing? But I think my point I was making earlier is that they are still being charged these fees.
What?
Now, that's like, we'll get into like the implications for the workers themselves.
Can we have the fee for you to run your... No, you have to give us the fee for your business, but you can't run your business.
That's right. Yeah, and there's no discussion, like people have been asking to have the fees waived, which you'd think that would make sense if you're not running your business, but that's not happening. Like, no. I think they're just kind of, quite happy to take
your money.
Yeah, they'll take the money, but they won't allow them to operate, nor will they give them any answers. Now, I contacted the Department of Justice, I have to say, I think about 15 times, a very lovely woman who I'm pretty sure her entire job is just saying, I'll get back to you. I will get back to you. We're just looking into it. I'll get back to you. And I asked them about what's up.
It's her job to fend you off.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, the funny thing is, like, I'm doing my Masters of Journalism at the moment, and this article that I wrote was for that course. And I had put in my draft of this assignment where I was like, I've written to them like 7 times, and she keeps like saying she's going to get back to me. And in my I'm so naive sometimes. Like, I was just
she must be busy.
Yeah, she must be really busy. Like, I think no, but it's okay. I think I'll have an answer by next time, because she's really been getting back to me saying that she's looking into it. It's been like 2 weeks more, and I've probably emailed her about like another 10 times, and she's just like, sweetheart, I'm looking into it.
Did you finish with like, are you fucking with me?
No.
Hey, where's my answer?
No, I didn't.
Tell me I'm not going to get one.
Because I probably will email the Department of Justice again and again and again, because I've got a bunch of questions to ask on a bunch of topics. But yeah, it's been, you know, not exactly forthcoming. But yeah, even my lecturer was just like, they are probably fobbing you off. And I'm like, oh, that's an excellent point. I thought she was genuinely going to get back to me at some point. But anyway, I'll pursue that line of questioning the whole time. Now, the other interesting thing that came out of it, I spoke to Eros Association, who's the peak body representative for the adult industry in Australia. And they talked to me, Rachel Payne talked to me about the implications of this decision and how it is probably likely going to drive a bunch of workers who would normally be working in legal, safe brothels into probably like maybe more of an illicit situation.
People got to earn money.
Some of them are going online and doing camming, which can be great, but there's also these other implications. Then I spoke to an amazing guy called Rob, who runs a brothel out in Melton, which is also where our cat's from. What's up, Melton?
All the best pussies in Melton.
Oh, whoa, that's good. Yeah. So we spoke to a guy called Rob, who's from the Forum in Melton, and it's a little establishment out there that's totally legal. It looks sick as fuck. The team that all of the workers there are contractors, so it's not like it's not like working at EB Games where you're like an employee. You kind of like you use the space, and they are contractors for the space. So the community that brothel itself supports is about 50 people, right? So that's 50 people out of a job with no idea whether they're coming back, and that's just one place in Melton. So can you imagine? So he's saying that there are illegal brothels operating out there who are able to run that possibly some of his workers may even have to go to.
But who's making sure they're adhering to the same
no
health
one,
and
because
safety
they're illegal.
guidelines?
Exactly. So no, exactly right. This is, and I mean, like we talked about the police in the last episode, or whenever that episode comes out. But like the police were supposed to monitor these illegal brothels, but essentially they're kind of just like, it's so far down the list of priorities that like Rob's legal business suffers in the face of these illegal versions that aren't allowed to operate, that wouldn't have contact tracing, that wouldn't have easier ways of like figuring out what's going on because they're not traceable. Those businesses are operating essentially probably now, we think. Like that's...
Well, it's not like you can say you're not allowed to do your sex work, but it's not going to remove the societal need for sex work.
No.
And that's the thing. It's, you can say you're not going to operate, but like there are still people for whom sex work fulfills a vital need in their lives as people and functionally healthy people. And like to shut that down, these people, like
Where are they gonna go?
They still need to fuck.
Well, that's the
and
thing.
They're gonna find it
That's what
somewhere.
Rob was
And it's
saying.
like illegal drugs as well. You know, you illegalize something. If someone really wants it,
it's gonna
whether
happen.
it's against their better interest or not, they're going to find a way. So you can either make it safe or you can illegalize it, and then you're just criminalizing more behavior that doesn't need to be criminalized.
So I'm paraphrasing here, but Rob was saying that he's relatively new. I think they've only been on operation for a couple of years, and he was like really surprised when he moved into that area to find that his clientele was sort of like, you know, sure, there's, you know, the occasional married people and stuff, like dudes, but there's also just like people with disability, there's widowers, there's people whose families may be overseas that they have no access to their spouses and things like that. Like just like, there's women clients, like it's not maybe the person that you're picturing. It's not just like, I don't know, some skeezy guy. Like it's not, that's surely like for sure. And like you,
well, don't get me wrong, businessmen stopping off on the way home from work are part of the industry.
But it's also a whole bunch of other reasons that people need sex work. So you're completely right. Like that industry, like that's going to happen.
Not going to go away. Yeah.
And vice versa, there's also a need from the workers' perspective. Like he has said he has primarily sort of like, there's 3 types of workers. There's the top-up worker who already probably has other work, but does this as sort of like an extra thing. And then there's also the survival.
Cash in hand, so to speak.
Yeah, you know, like there may be university students or whatever who are working to sort of like, and that, you know, it's definitely a need for them, but there's also workers who are survival workers, you called, who may be coming from sort of like disadvantaged background or escaping an abusive home or whatever. And those people, where the fuck, like, what have they been doing? Like, it's been out of work for like 2 months. Like, what are they supposed to do? Like, of course they're gonna go and do what they need to do in order to survive. It's the oldest, what is it, like the oldest?
The world's oldest profession?
Yeah, like, come on. Like, of course it's gonna happen. So, Rachel and Rob both confirmed that that was their suspicion, and like, I think we can see that like that is happening. We can also see we saw a rise early on in porn. I don't know if you've been watching more porn. Probably not.
It stayed the same.
The same amount of porn. Tons of porn.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Pornhub and a bunch of the main porn sites had like a huge rise.
Like once lockdown began.
Yeah. So porn goes up, like that's people watching camming and everything like that. So camming has gone up. You know, like again, it's like what you're saying, like people like
Camming's
porn.
a poor substitute for the hands-on experience though.
Is it? I like a cam because you can like interact.
You do, but you wouldn't want
ways.
that to be the breadth of your sexual experience moving forward.
No.
No, it's like, it's a thing, but it's not all the thing, and it's not going to replace the,
like,
you know,
being
it's a bit like the industry that the government is quite happy to continue
if they finally
supporting.
come out, remember when they came out with Smell-O-Rama?
Oh, so you can get the smell of a freshly
You
moved
scratch and
butthole pumped
sniff.
into your face. Well, it's not going to meet the fundamental human need for touch that everyone
Intimacy.
has. And it's cruel to sort of deny people that because you're a fucking wowser about the sex industry.
That's the thing that's so galling. I think like ultimately this is clearly just the government having a weird
Now's our chance to, or they're appeasing some sort of possibly Hillsong lobbyist or some the conservatives and stuff.
And that's what's so. But again, it's not like we're even talking about like super seedy, illegal. Like no,
well, these places exist so that people don't have to work the side of the road.
They're taking money from them.
Yeah, you're taking their fees, but you're not letting them earn. You fucking dog cunts.
Yeah. So I found out about that. I know that Eros and a bunch of other places like the Scarlet Alliance are doing amazing work to point out. I know that they're writing letters. I don't know what legal action.
That's sort of like if you've paid your fees to operate and they're not operating.
Well, you'd think that you could. I mean, maybe that's the path that they're going to take. I don't know.
Look, we've seen our government exploit the corona. Like, we're believers in coronavirus, but we also watched our government say, hey, you guys shouldn't protest do the Black Lives Matter protest. It's not safe for COVID. But at the same time, the rugby's coming back and we can all pack into stadiums and so markets are open and this and that. And so it's just like, fuck off. Don't pretend you care about people. Like, it's the fucking bald-faced hypocrisy of it.
Be a better evil person. Like when I become an evil person, I'm just gonna be so smart about it where you won't even know. Like,
it'd be like being the Merciless. I am evil. This is the deal. I'm not going to fucking lie to you.
I presume that's a wrestler.
And then no, he's Flash Gordon's nemesis.
Being the Merciless.
Being the Merciless.
Is that a racial caricature?
Max von Sydow. I don't know. He was always portrayed as Western, but with a Fu Manchu moustache. Who was an Orientalist villain character. But yeah, at least I'd be like, here's the deal. It's a dictatorship. I'm evil. I'm basically Space Hitler. You know where you stand with me. But the fucking government who's, if you have a go, you'll get a go.
Oh.
Suck my fucking dick, because I can't go and get it done for a pay. So you can, Scott Morrison, because it's hypocritical lies and wowsering. And again, pretending that they care when they only care about money.
Just suck my dick.
Suck my dick.
So if you really wish that you could get sucked off still by a
for money, not earning it the old-fashioned way.
Just go for a lovely dance in a strip club, because apparently it's fine to get a massage, but it ain't fine to get a fucking sexy dance.
You can't get a lap dance. You can't watch a lap dance.
You should give us a like, because we agree with you. And
it's fucked.
Give us a like if you also disagree. Am I doing an outro? I almost just did an outro. Finish it up.
Like, share, subscribe, and support your local sex workers.